Good evening, everybody. Let me just check that I am in the right place. There we go. Okay, so hello, everybody. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Danny. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from the UK. Thank you for joining me today. This is a virtual coffee and card group that I am putting on in the month of October. So it's for tonight, the 14th, and also the 28th. So as you know, I do a coffee and card group twice a month at 2 different coffee shops. I usually try and teach different techniques on these occasions. And I thought what I have shared in the coffee and card groups in person, I will share virtually with you on my Facebook page. So this week we're doing watercolouring. So there is a lot of things out there that you could use. So in the catalogue there's chalks, there is watercolour pencils, but I thought what we could do is start off using what we already have. So we all have some stamp pads. Now these are water based and you can use these to watercolour your images. So that's what I'm going to be showing you tonight. Now I'm going to be showing you a few things. So do say hello if you're here. I'd love to chat with you as we as I watercolour. If you've got any questions as well, just let me know, and I will desperately try and answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I will try and find out the answer. Let me just refresh my page. Can't see any comments though, that's the only thing. Oh, there we go. Hi Joe, I can see your comment. Oh, thank you for joining me. Right, so I'm going to show you today is all about the Stamparatus a bit, which may not mean anything to some of you, but it's just a taster for that. But I'm going to show you how to make a large image that we have, be able to get it up upright. Hi Natasha. Oh, thanks Joe. Hopefully it'll turn out all right. Right, so Stamparatus we're going to be using. We're going to use the stamp pads as a watercolour, and then I'm going to show you how to use these water painters, and also that we can use our ink refills as well. Now when our pads are very dry and run out of juice, as it were, you can actually, that's not the right colour, so get the corresponding colour, and you can use the ink to re-ink your pad. So you can use this actually in these water painters. I'm going to also tell you, you probably got Memento and you probably got StazOn. Hello Jane. So what do you use for what? So all these questions we will answer. So first of all, we're going to look at, if you wanted to save some money, you don't need these water painters. They come in good use for other things, but you could use just a brush and a pot of water if you wanted to. Hi Sarah. So you do need this though, you need watercolour paper. So the watercolour paper is in the annual catalogue. Sorry for the glare, try not to get glare. So it's in the annual catalogue and the papers, there it is. So it's on page 140 and you can get watercolour paper, 10 sheets. So that's the size of it, sort of half an A5 That is an A5, it's half an A4. Or you could also use the shimmery white, which you can get 10 sheets and that's A4. So you could use that as well. It's just take one out. It's quite a thick card. It's got a bit of a texture on here as well. So that is what I've used. And then coming on to this, these come in a pack of 3. Just open them up. So you've got a wide, a medium and a thin tipped brush. So you fill it up with water. This sort of barrel can be filled up with water. If you do buy it, it's not unscrews the opposite with the way to what you think. This is the problem. It's not lefty-loosey and righty-tighty, it's completely opposite, and it gets me every time, so still don't know how to do it. So yeah, right is to loosen. So you fill that barrel with water, and then that chamber is a little flat surfaced area with a push on there. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera. And then that fills with water and then basically comes onto your brush tip. So I tend to use the smaller one, the thinner one, and I'm going to put all this to one side because Stacey, hi. Oh dear, but you're my best behaviour now. Stacey's watching. Right, so I think what we'll do is start our layering. So we've got a few layers here. It's in a landscape style. So I'm going to show you how to just get the best out of your A4 card. So it's in crumb cake. So crumb cake is to get 2 bits of card. Oh, no pressure, exactly, Jane. So with your wide part at the top, because I want it in landscape, I want to score it at 14.9. It's 14.85 to be honest, but I'm just going to do it like that, 14.9, and then at 10.5 I'm going to cut it. So that will give me 2 cards in landscape. I will burnish that in a minute. Then I've got a layer of old olive, so I'm going to do that half a centimetre smaller, so that's going to be at 10, and I need 2 of those, so, and that's half a centimetre smaller, so 14.4, and it's all written on the side here if you want to follow. And then 2 bits of white, one for the outside, one for the inside, half a centimetre smaller, which would be 9.5 by 13.9. Let me just check I've got that right. Yes. 13.9. So you've got those bits spare of that, and you could use that for something else. So get my trimmer out of the way, and then burnish that. Obviously this is enough for 2 cards, but I'm not only doing 1. So then I've got my layer in the front. That is all done. and my layer inside. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side for the moment because we're going to do our sunflower, and that needs to be on the watercolour paper. Hi Julie, nice to hear from you. Right, so I said to you that I would be using the Stamparatus. Sorry, it's a bit dark. It's a bit dark. Never mind. So the Stamparatus is a sort of stamping a platform which you can use for like precision stamping really. So it comes with these two magnets, a gridded base, and then a sponge bit, and then this you have to buy extra. This is the paper to go on the top, and then these two plates, they're just like large acrylic blocks. I'm just going to put that in place with my magnets, and these come off and you can move them along and all sorts. You have fun and games with that, but all I'm doing this, no worries Liz, that's fine. I'm doing this because this is quite a large stamp. Is this off the picture? Let me have a look. So this is a large stamp, and the middle sometimes it doesn't, have I got an example I can show you? I don't think I have, but sometimes when you stamp it the first time the middle doesn't come out. Hi Bev. So that's why this is quite good to use. So you know that you can stamp it again. You can stamp it, doesn't come out, stamp it again, and I'll show you. It's much easier to show you. I forgot to say very quickly, let's move this out of the way, what do you use with what? So StazOn is a solvent ink. It's like an alcohol base, so it dries and it's more permanent. Memento is a water-based ink. So basically I am using a water painter. So I would use the solvent ink, the StazOn. Its opposites attract. So water, solvent. If I was using my stamping blends, I would use this one because that's a water. This is alcohol blend, so there's its opposites attract. Yeah, I think we can all get that confused, but I heard this from somebody else, so I thought that was really a good tip. It's always the opposite. So I'm not using that one because I'm going to be using my water painter. So with the StazOn, I always think it smells like marzipan. With the StazOn, it's very permanent, and we do have a StazOn cleaner, but I haven't got it, as you can see. Look at that. So I'm going to stamp this on and my leaf and just see if it's in shot, and then I'm going to press down. So you can see it's not come out really well, so I'm going to do it again. Apologies for the shaking. And you just, because you know it's in the same position and it's there with the magnets, I'm going to do it again. You can do it as many times as you want, just until you're happy. So that's much better, isn't it? So I'd be happy with that. if you can see. And obviously you'd want that dries fairly quickly, but I have done that already. And when you use the stamparatus, you need the chamois, and do it very quickly to clean it. I'm not sure how it sort of leaves a permanent mark, but it is clean. But it needs probably to have the proper cleaner, which I haven't got. So you then dry that, but I have got one that I did earlier just to make sure. Love that image. Yeah, it's so lovely, sunflowers. It's not the time of year to be thinking about sunflowers, but I did this several weeks ago in the coffee and card group, and I thought it'd be a good one to show you. Right, so then you need a bit of kitchen roll and acrylic blocks, and I've actually, would you believe it, used Melon Mambo for this bit. Very weak Melon Mambo. Then Daffodil Delight and Crumb cake. So just get your stamp pad and pop, that is your little palette. Then Daffodil Delight, and then I only need a little one for the crumb cake. Crumb cake's going to be in the middle. Now I'll do the leaves. I think I use Pear Pizzazz for that, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm just going to concentrate on the on the sunflower. So I then, just trying to see if you're all in shot. I think I am. So squeeze that onto the palette, onto your palette, to your acrylic block. And then paint. So in the middle I would do the Melon Mambo, and it's quite pink to start with, the Melon Mambo, but once it's mixed with the yellow, it sort of goes an orangey colour, so which is quite nice. And you don't, with the stays on also, you don't get the bleeding through, whereas you would probably with the memento. I think the memento, even with the stamping blends, it's still sort of, I think it all has a saturation point, doesn't it? And you go over that saturation point, then it will bleed a little bit. So it's a case of trying not to go, not with this, but with the memento and the stamping blends, try not to go too much over the lines. Oh, I'm glad I'm glad it's relaxing. Friday night relax, isn't it? So this is quite yellow at the moment, but once it all sort of blends and also it dries, you'll find that it actually gets better. Otherwise it's all quite bright at the moment. And then I'll show you how to use the same brush So I've got, that's yellow, just squeeze that onto your kitchen roll until it runs clear. And it hasn't discoloured the tip. So a bit more water onto your pink. That's a bit bright. Let's see how it goes. Thing is, you've got to try and get it so that it's not completely dry. So it does sort of blend a little bit. I mean, you could do it any colours you sort of prefer. You might not. I've seen lovely sunflowers got this red sort of middle, and I think that's where I got this idea from. But you could do just a darker yellow in the middle, I think you wanted to. This is just very light, you know, it's quite, I don't think it's the melon mambo that we know, but it's quite light. So I'm going to go, oh hi Debs. So then I'm going to just get it a little bit more orangey. It's actually really satisfying colouring. Well, I like colouring and I like watercolour, but I love the fact that you can just use your stamp pad for this. So I think that's fine. I'm going to get rid of that now. Squeeze it all out. My top is clear, so I'm going to put a bit of crumb cake now. Oops. Well, at least I'm not using that bit. So just pop that in there. And that is your sunflower done, really. So the next thing to do is to make sure it's dry before you cut it. The other thing just to say is, if you wanted to add more colour to your palette, what I would do is take it all off and then put more ink on and do it that way. So let's put this aside before I get it on my fingers. So then I would cut that out. So I've used the Celebrate sunflowers and the lovely coordinating dies. So that would go around there. Another little tip, because this looks, they look all the same. So just to have a look at your sunflower and have that little bit that stands out from among the rest. I don't know whether you can see. And then to look for that bit on your sunflower, which is, I think, here. Let's have a look. Yeah. Because the first time I got this, I used to just go round and round in circles. Didn't know where I could fit it. And if you can just take that, and then that would be cut out. So I have already cut one out for you. So let's get this out. There we go. And I have got some leaves as well. 4 leaves. So I did that with a bit of Mossy Meadow and Pear Pizzazz. So I'm going to put that there. So the next bit of my layering is to do this bit. Let's take this out of the way. So I'm going to do some blending. So get my, where is it? I've used Balmy Blue and Pear Pizzazz to go with the leaves. So do the blue first. This is my background. And I did have a spare piece. So ink it up and then get the harsh bits out of it. And then I want half of it blue and then half of it green. Just building your colour up. And once you're happy, I suppose I'm moving the camera, aren't I? So let's try the Pear Pizzazz. Take it off once you're happy. And I think that is fine. Okay, so that's that. Close these up. And then what I have done is I've used the Quiet Meadow, that lovely buttercup image, the stamp on in, and I've stamped it on, I think it's in Pear Pizzazz. So let's see. Yeah, that fits on there. And then I'm just going to put it at the bottom, so it's like a seal. I sort of did this in the sort of summer months, so it was relevant then. It's probably not as relevant now. We're thinking Christmas, aren't we? So stamp that on, just different heights. and I'm going to stamp this one off, and then sort of comes out a lighter colour, and I think that's enough. So then I've actually used some stamping blends on here just to colour the buttercups a little bit, and you can with, you know, even when you blend it onto the paper. Then you're ready to stick. On. So that I have stuck on with, put it that way, I think, dimensionals. Let me just refresh my page just in case I'm getting comments. You might be all quiet, I don't know. Oh, there we go. So because I'm putting these behind here, I want to position my dimensionals not against the edge, so I just want to do it in the middle really. And I've also curled it up a little bit with my bone folder. I can turn it round and do it that way. So it will get flattened a little bit in the post, but you still got a bit of a 3D image here. So then pop that on there, and then you can poke these and glue them where you want them really. And again, I'm just going to give them a bit of dimension. With my bone folder. So then I'm going to glue it with some glue, wet glue. So I'm just going to put the glue down there. Doesn't want to come out. For speed, I'm just going to put it on all of them. I want a bit of movement. So I'm not going to put it so that it's flat on the page. So these can stick up a little bit. Oh, that's all right, Let. Hope you had a good time at kickboxing. So then the next thing to do is the sentiment. So a bit of cream card. Now you could do crumb cake, but crumb cake I think is a little bit light, and I think I'm going to go for soft suede because it's a bit darker, and I think images, sentiments always need to be a little bit darker to stand out. So I was going to do Let's Celebrate You, and see if that fits on there. Yes, it does. Doesn't matter if it's straight because I'm going to fussy cut this. So oh, I hope I'm in shot still. No, I'm not, am I? It's always turning the paper rather than the scissors. You're all very quiet. Is it Friday night? Right, usually I like to do it at an angle, but I didn't do that. Do a little bit. Okay, so then ready to pop it onto here, and I'll just put a little bit of glue in the middle. There we go, and then ready to layer. Put that on the front. So what are you doing at this weekend then? Are you all busy? So that's the front done, and you could put a bit of gems maybe if you want to. So then I've got exactly the same on the front as on the inside, and what I sometimes do is just put a little sunflower in the middle, and then I'm going to use memento for that, just to give it a little bit of a, and put it on the side, and then that is ready. Oh yes, we've got our secret envelope group tomorrow, don't forget, Debs. So that goes on there, and there we go, nearly done. I mean, I have sort of coloured that in with stamping blends in the middle, in this bit. You could colour that in with stamping blends if you wanted to, but I haven't got the colour that's on the front, so it would look slightly different, but I think that is fine. So this is all about using your stamp pads for watercolouring, and I think it's using what we have, isn't it? And even if you just had, if you didn't want to buy these, which I would recommend them because I think they're brilliant, you can use your inks to go in there as well, so I think they're really sort of good to buy. But you could just use a little paintbrush and a water pot. But there we go, so that is our little card. So I'm going to be back, oh thank you girls, thank you. I'm going to be back on the 28th, Friday Night Live. That is same time, 8 o'clock, for another little technique. Okay, well thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for all your comments, and I'll see you next time.